Nothing changes if nothing changes. Read that again. Let it sink in. Because this is the single undeniable truth that separates success from mediocrity, fulfillment from regret, and those who rise from those who stay stuck. Look around. Your life, your career, your relationships, your body, your mindset, everything you experience today is a direct reflection of the choices you've made up until now. You're not stuck because life is unfair. You're stuck because you're repeating the same patterns, telling yourself the same stories, and expecting a different result. Let's be real. Most people don't change until life smacks them so hard that they have no other choice. They wait until the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of taking action. But why wait for the breakdown when you can start the breakthrough right now? Why wait for the heartbreak, the financial ruin, the missed opportunity, the regret that keeps you up at night? Why wait for life to force you to change when you have the power to choose change today? You want success, you want growth, you want transformation, then stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Stop telling yourself the same old excuses. It's a lie. Stop wishing, hoping, and praying without action, because life doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. Everything you want is on the other side of change. But change isn't comfortable, it isn't convenient, it isn't easy. That's why most people won't do it. They'd rather complain, they'd rather blame, they'd rather stay in their comfort zone, even when their comfort zone is destroying them. But not you, not today, because today you make a decision. Today you take action. Today you say enough is enough. You shift your mindset, you upgrade your standards. You refuse to accept anything less than your full potential, because the moment you change, everything changes. So don't just listen to this speech. Don't just feel motivated for 5 minutes and go back to your old habits. Do something, take the first step, make the hard choice, push through the fear, rewrite the script of your life. Because nothing changes if nothing changes. And today, everything changes. There was once a man who woke up every single day feeling like life was happening to him, not for him. He had dreams, big ones, but somehow, year after year, they remained just that, dreams. Every morning, he hit the snooze button one more time. Every night, he told himself, tomorrow, I'll start, but tomorrow never came. Sound familiar? See, life isn't about what we want, it's about what we do, and what we do comes down to one thing: decisions. The truth is, your life right now, everything you have, everything you don't, the way you feel about yourself, the opportunities in front of you is a direct result of the decisions you've made up until this moment. And if you're not where you want to be, it's not because life is unfair, not because you're unlucky, not because the world is against you. It's because of the choices you've been making over and over again. Think about it. Every time you decide to hit snooze instead of getting up and working on your goals, you've made a choice. Every time you decide to watch TV instead of learning a new skill, you've made a choice. Every time you decide to stay quiet when you should have spoken up, walk away when you should have pushed forward, wait for the right moment instead of making this moment count, you've made a choice. And those choices shape your life more than any external circumstance ever could. Let me tell you a story. There were two men born into the same poor neighborhood, raised in the same tough environment, surrounded by the same struggles. One of them grew up and said, this is just how life is. People like me don't make it out. So he stayed in the same cycle, blaming the world, waiting for a miracle. The other man, he looked around and said, this is not how my story ends. He made a decision to learn, to work, to sacrifice, to rise. Same background, different choices, different lives. Because it's not about where you come from, it's about where you decide to go. People love to talk about fate, luck, destiny, but let's be real, your destiny is created by your decisions. And if you keep making the same choices, you'll keep getting the same results. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Some people wait their entire lives for the feeling of motivation to push them forward. But the most successful people in the world, they don't wait, they decide. They decide to show up, to put in the work, to do the hard things, even when they don't feel like it. Because here's the secret. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. You don't feel like going to the gym, but you go anyway. And once you're there, you feel good. You don't feel like working on your dreams, but you push through. And once you start seeing progress, you're on fire. Success isn't a mystery, it's a pattern. Think about every person who has ever achieved something great. They weren't born with superpowers. They weren't given some magical advantage. They simply made a different set of decisions. They chose discipline over comfort. They chose growth over excuses. They chose action over hesitation, and you can do the same, starting right now. It doesn't have to be a huge life-altering change all at once. It starts with one decision. One shift, one moment where you say no more, one moment where you break the cycle, one moment where you refuse to keep living on autopilot and start creating the life you were meant to live. Because here's the truth, you are always one decision away from a completely different life. So, what's it gonna be? There comes a moment in everyone's life when they hit a wall, a breaking point, a moment so painful that it shakes them to their core. Maybe it's the realization that years have passed and they're still stuck in the same place. Maybe it's looking in the mirror and not recognizing the person staring back. Maybe it's watching someone else live the life they always wanted, knowing deep down they had the same potential, but never took action. Pain, it's the greatest teacher, the ultimate wake-up call, the force that doesn't whisper, it screams. And when it does, you have two choices: let it break you or let it build you. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding pain. They run from discomfort, hide from struggle, numb themselves with distractions. They tell themselves it's not that bad, convincing themselves that the life they're settling for is enough. But deep down, they know the truth. They feel it, that ache in their chest, that voice in their head that won't shut up, the restless nights staring at the ceiling wondering, is this really it? The reality is, people don't change when things are fine. They don't move when they're comfortable. They don't push themselves when life is easy. No, people change when staying the same becomes more painful than the fear of taking action. When the weight of regret becomes heavier than the weight of discipline, when they finally understand that the pain of growth is temporary, but the pain of staying the same lasts forever. Look at the most successful, resilient, unstoppable people in the world. Every single one of them has a story of pain, a moment when life knocked them down so hard they could have stayed there, but instead of letting that pain define them, they used it, they turned it into fuel. Think about the athlete who was cut from the team and trained harder than anyone until they became a champion, the entrepreneur who lost everything and built an empire from scratch, the person who hit rock bottom and decided never again. Pain was their ignition. There was once a man who had spent years living an average, predictable life. He had a job he hated but stayed because it was safe. He had dreams, but he buried them under excuses. He told himself he had time. Then one day, everything changed. His company let him go. The security he had clung to disappeared overnight. He sat in his car, staring at the steering wheel, overwhelmed with fear. But that fear quickly turned into something else, fire. Because in that moment, he realized that the thing he had feared the most, losing his job, was the best thing that had ever happened to him. It forced him to take action. It pushed him to finally chase his real passion. And within a few years, he was more successful, more fulfilled, and more alive than ever before. That's the power of pain. It doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to wake you up. So ask yourself, what pain are you avoiding? What truth are you refusing to face? What discomfort are you numbing instead of using? Because the people who succeed, the people who break through, the people who transform their lives, they don't avoid pain. They lean into it. They use it as proof that they're alive. They let it sharpen them, strengthen them, push them to be better. The difference between the person who changes and the person who stays the same isn't talent, it isn't luck, it's leverage. That is the moment they take their pain and turn it into power. And that moment can be right now. Your mind is the control center of your life. Every action you take, every risk you avoid, every opportunity you either grab or let slip away, it all starts with a single thought. The problem is most people are walking around with a mind that has been programmed for limitation, for doubt, for fear. They've been told since they were kids what they can and cannot do, what's possible and what's not. And without realizing it, they accepted those beliefs as truth. But here's the truth. Your mind is not fixed. Your reality is not set in stone. You have the power to rewire the way you think. And when you do that, everything, your choices, your habits, your future begins to change. Think about it. Every great achievement in human history started with someone believing it was possible. The first person to break the 4-minute mile, the innovators who built technology that no one thought could exist, the leaders who transformed the world, they all had one thing in common. They refused to let limiting beliefs dictate their reality. But most people don't operate that way. Most people are trapped in a mental prison they don't even realize they're in. They tell themselves, I'm not smart enough, I'm not talented enough, I wasn't born into the right family, I've failed too many times. And because they think that way, they act that way. They hesitate, they hold back, they stop themselves before they even start. And that's why they stay stuck. But here's the game changer. You don't have to accept the beliefs that were handed to you. You don't have to keep replaying the same story in your head. You can rewrite the script. You can rewire your mind. And the moment you do, your entire future shifts. There was a man who spent years struggling, barely getting by. He worked hard, but no matter what he did, he could never seem to break through. Then one day he realized the problem wasn't his effort, it was his mindset. Deep down, he believed he wasn't worthy of success, that wealth was for other people, that no matter how hard he tried, he would always struggle. And because that was his belief, his actions matched it. He played small, he self-sabotaged, he never fully committed. But the moment he changed his beliefs, when he started telling himself a new story, one where he was worthy, was capable, was in control, everything else followed. His confidence changed, his actions changed, his results changed, and soon his entire life looked different. That's how powerful the mind is. What you believe about yourself determines the risks you take, the doors you open, the limits you push past. If you believe you're capable, you'll take bold action. If you believe success is for other people, you'll stay in the background watching life pass you by. But here's the thing. You don't have to feel confident to act. You don't have to feel ready to take the first step. You just have to start rewiring your thoughts, moment by moment, day by day. And soon, those thoughts turn into beliefs. And once your beliefs change, your actions follow. Because the truth is, your life right now is a reflection of the thoughts you've been thinking. But if you change those thoughts, you can change everything. There are two kinds of people in this world, those who talk about what they're going to do and those who actually do it. Those who make endless plans, analyze every possibility, and wait for the perfect moment. And those who step up, take action, and make things happen. The difference between success and failure, between the life you want and the life you have, comes down to one thing: action. You can have the greatest ideas in the world, the most detailed plans, the most inspiring dreams, but if you don't do something, nothing changes. You can read all the books, watch all the motivational videos, make all the vision boards, but until you take bold, massive action, you will stay exactly where you are. Most people live in a constant cycle of thinking, planning, and waiting. They tell themselves, I'll start when I'm ready. But the truth is, they're never ready. They hesitate, they second guess themselves. They wait for everything to be perfect before they take the first step. But perfection is a lie. There is no perfect moment. The only thing that matters is that you move. Look at anyone who has ever achieved anything great. They weren't the ones who sat around waiting for permission. They weren't the ones who made excuses or spent years getting ready. They were the ones who took action before they felt ready, before they had all the answers, before they had everything figured out. There was a man who had spent years dreaming of starting his own business. He had the ideas, the vision, the passion, but he kept telling himself he needed more time, more money, more experience, so he waited. And while he was waiting, someone else with less knowledge, less money, and less experience went after the same dream and made it happen. That's the difference. The people who win in life aren't always the smartest, the most talented, or the most prepared. They're the ones who are relentless, the ones who take action. Even when it's messy, even when it's uncomfortable, even when they have every reason to wait. Because here's the truth, action creates momentum, and momentum creates transformation. The first step is always the hardest, but once you take it, everything shifts. You don't need to see the whole staircase, you just need to take the first step. Once you move, you learn. Once you take action, you adjust. Once you commit, the opportunities start showing up. But none of that happens if you stay stuck in your head. Most people overthink their way out of success. They get caught in analysis paralysis, debating every possible outcome, trying to predict the future. But success doesn't come from predicting, it comes from doing. The greatest lessons come from experience, not theory. The biggest breakthroughs happen in the doing, not the thinking. The moment you take massive action, you separate yourself from 99% of people. Because most people never do. Most people hesitate. Most people let fear hold them back. But the ones who act, the ones who push through, the ones who refuse to stop, they're the ones who change their lives. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to move. Because the second you do, everything starts to change. The clock is ticking. Every second that passes is a second you will never get back. You can sit there trapped in the same cycle of hesitation, doubt, and fear, or you can stand up, take control, and make a decision that will change everything, because in the end, life doesn't wait. Success doesn't wait. The world doesn't stop spinning just because you're afraid to move. You have a fire inside you, a potential so great that if you unleashed it, you wouldn't even recognize yourself a year from now. But potential means nothing without action. Dreams mean nothing without effort, and plans mean nothing without execution. It's not the smartest people who win. It's not the luckiest. It's the ones who refuse to quit. The ones who bet on themselves when no one else does. The ones who understand that massive action creates massive change. You were not put on this earth to be average. You were not designed to play small, to stay in the shadows, to live a life of regret. You were meant for more. But if you want it, you have to fight for it. You have to push through the resistance. You have to make a choice right now, in this moment, that you will no longer let fear, doubt, or procrastination hold you back. You don't have time to wait. There is no perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. So burn the boats, cut off every escape route, and make a commitment to yourself that failure is not an option. Because when you decide that success is the only way forward, that's when miracles happen. That's when the universe moves in your favor. That's when the impossible becomes possible. Do you want to know the difference between the person who achieves their dreams and the person who does? It's not talent, it's not resources, it's not connections. It's one thing: relentless, unstoppable action. Muhammad Ali once said, "Don't count the days, make the days count." You have no idea how much time you have left on this planet. So why waste another second? Why keep saying, "I'll start tomorrow," when tomorrow is never promised? The greats, the legends, the ones who left a mark on this world, they didn't sit around waiting. They moved, they acted, they took risks. Rocky Balboa said, "It ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." Life will throw punches at you. You will get knocked down. You will face setbacks, but setbacks are not the end. They are the beginning of your comeback. Every failure is just a lesson. Every rejection is just redirection. And every obstacle is just another test to see how bad you really want it. Will Smith once said, "Being realistic is the most commonly traveled road to mediocrity." Stop waiting for guarantees. Stop looking for certainty. Stop asking for permission. If you want something, go get it. If you have a dream, chase it like your life depends on it. If you want to be great, act like it, work like it, live like it. There is a version of you that is fearless, powerful, unstoppable. That version of you is waiting on the other side of action. But you will never meet that version of yourself if you don't move, if you don't commit, if you don't take that first step right now. This is your time, your moment, your shot. And if you let it slip away, you will wake up one day full of regret, wondering what could have been. But if you act now, if you decide with every ounce of your being that you will not stop, that you will not quit, that you will do whatever it takes, then nothing and no one can stand in your way. You want change, then make it happen. You want success, then demand it from yourself. You want greatness, then step up and claim it. Because in the end, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to do it for you. This is your life, your dream, your legacy. So get up, get moving, and never look back.